Hello again, and hi, and good evening. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I'm Doc Tima, and welcome to another Media Literacy Survival Guide submission. I'm going to stop saying 3-minute video because this is not happening. Today, first I want to apologize for not being on last week. The better half and I went on vacation. It was good. We vanished, disconnected. It was great. Did my best not to watch the news, getting my head into things. So we're here, we're refreshed, kind of, and we're ready to go. So tonight, I want to talk briefly about the history of social media, how it has evolved, and the reality of how it is designed today. It's shifted dramatically from being strictly text-driven to text and image, to text, image, and video, to chat, to real-time messaging, and then to the algorithm and corporatization and selling things on it. So you may not realize this, but social media began actually shortly after 1994 when the first web browsers popped up. In 97, 6 Degrees is launched. 6 Degrees is primarily a Windows-based system. It's not great, but it does start to show the foundations of where we are now. I remember when this was a thing when I lived in the dorms. It was more like a BBS or chat system for those that are old enough to remember those. Think war games at the beginning of that. So it's more of a chat that we might consider now for social media, but the ability to meet random people, develop relationships, that was real. And that extends from the old BBSs from the 70s and 80s with dial-in and all that kind of stuff. Well, there's no live chat function. The other things we consider for SS, for social media, friends, text-based messaging, profiles, well, that existed. Though it did not last too long, we don't get MySpace or Facebook without it. So MySpace was originally a file sharing service in the Bay Area, and that becomes like really a social connection platform. We start getting friends lists that have pictures. Tom was everyone's friend. We start to be able to design our own spaces. So it becomes a combination of web design, graphic design, and chat and messaging and really blogging. It probably had more uniqueness to it than Facebook definitely does. It was not as rigid on the platform design or the aesthetic or template specific stuff. It was kind of cool. After MySpace, then we get Facebook, and that enters the chat, and everything changes. So remember, there are no smartphones at this time, so there is no 24/7 connection, no notifications. You have to be at a computer to use this thing. It was not until Apple releases the iPhone that things in social media really start to explode. So Facebook drops in 2005. Originally, it's strictly for goes beyond the Ivy League in 2005, goes public in 2006, adds the idea of microblogging and real-time chatting into the mix. Tumblr becomes the first image-based platform in 2007. Instagram 2010 picks up where Facebook and Tumblr leave off. Instagram is then acquired by Facebook, which now is part of Meta. At the same time, we see Twitter and Snapchat come on their own. And now we have TikTok, which you're probably watching this on right now. We also have places like YouTube and things of that nature. Each of them has their own uniqueness, but all of them really are all about, supposedly, connection. But what are they also about? That's the design question. First, haptic response. If you think about how things go on your black mirrors here, you often have a haptic response that's intentionally designed. That's that little shake you feel when you touch a button or you hit a thing on your phone. You begin training your body, your physiology to respond to that haptic response. Begins creating a small level of dopamine hit every time. We've heard about this, it's nothing new. But consider what you're actually doing physiologically and psychologically to yourself as you receive those responses. Same with notifications. This is where this idea of FOMO comes out or comes into play. Eye tracking is also a huge thing, particularly on Instagram. If you're scrolling through that, watch for little white dots show every couple of seconds. If memory serves correctly, that's them locking on. You've stopped for 3 seconds. you've given permission for these systems, for these software pieces to take your picture, to track your eyes with the camera, to use their audio systems to listen to you. So it's no surprise that they would monetize that, right? So they're trying to make money by seeing what you're looking at and then give you more of that stuff. And that's how the algorithm works. I mean, TikTok's all about that, right? But Instagram's there too. Facebook's there too. Twitter's there too. Which gets to the algorithm. The algorithms are insane, right? The idea that your personal demographic data, psychographic data, and response data is shoved in this churn, turned around, and then is used to spit out content that the algorithm thinks you want to see, and or the algorithm thinks it can sell you product from. And that's what we have to be thinking about with social media. We are, like I've talked about in the past episodes, we are product, right? We are data. Up to us to control that stuff. Remember to read your terms of service. And finally, the idea of 24/7 access. Facebook was not designed for 24/7 access originally. You logged in for a little bit, and you left. You walked away, did other things. But now that we have our computers in our pockets at all times, that changes, right? That that need, that FOMO, drives us to continually be jumping online, continually be looking at a thing. Have a fun trick or do a fun little thing. Track your usage every day on your phone. See how many hours you spend opening and closing apps. See how many times you don't close the apps. How many times do you log out of apps? How often do you spend scrolling through things? Right? Because that 24/7 access, that's going to cause the doom scroll to occur. And that doom scroll then feeds into your need to take care of that dopamine hit over and over and over again. It becomes a cycle. So why talk about all this stuff? Well, we're walking into a primary season, at least here in Omaha we are. Walking into political season. And we use our phones all the time. So we're using our phones all the time. I want you to get back into that thought process of being active, critical users and consumers of your media and not just passive dupes. If we can get there, maybe we have a little bit more control in our lives. And maybe we stay away from stuff once in a while just because there's other things to do. I spent last week on a boat, not a cruise ship, a catamaran, a 45-foot boat that we sailed. I barely touched my phone unless I had to book an anchorage or a mooring ball. It was great. We need to get back to that. We need to get away from this digital stuff because then we can appreciate it when we got it, right? So there's all my thoughts on social media, my rambling meanders as I get back into the swing here. As always, if you have questions or you have comments or you want me to take a look at some other topics, please let me know. I'm hesitating to discuss what's been going on politically in the last couple of days or hours right now, but we might have to get into that at some point. Specifically, message construction and message manipulation. I think that's something we need to talk about. That might be coming up here. So, anyways, as always, be well. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. We'll see you next time. Thank you. See you.